And I'm going to show you this from the console. I'm going to show you how to create and update this VM from the command line. I will show you how to backup and restore this VM using the KVM-BR utility. And I will introduce you with EMX for VM utility to export and import VM into the ODA. So first, I'm going to log into the console. This demo is probably going to run for 40 minutes. It is recorded to save us some time. So I'm going to connect to the console of my ODA X10-HA. So it is running on the 19.27 patch level, so it is the latest -1 level. It is I have two nodes on my ODA, and each node is having 64 cores and 128 CPUs, and we are using 12 disks in the backend. So if it is about compute instances, I'm going to go to the compute instances menu to manage my applications VM. So here you can see that I have already 4 VM that are running on my ODA. SBL01 for Cbal and BS123 that stands for ABS. Most of them are offline. One is running. I can see from this also from this menu the VM storage. So the VM storage is what? It is a pre-configured ICFS file system dedicated for VM, boot disk and virtual disk. So the same VM storage can hold the storage for many VMs, and you can also create multiple VM storage into your ODA. So you can see that this VM Cbal VM storage is consuming 700 gigabytes, and for the VM EBS, it is consuming 900 gigabytes. So you can also see the virtual disk that are available on this ODA. So you can not only create VM, but also assign virtual disk to them. So I have 4 virtual disks already created and one for each VM, so of different size, 150 gigabytes, 25 gigabytes, etc. You can configure the virtual disk sparsed or not, shared or not between VMs. And you have also some, I have also some virtual networks on my ODA of the default PubNet default network. And I have also configured some virtual networks for 2 VLANs that I can use on my ODA. So if I want to create a VM, I should start first by creating a VM storage. So I'm going to do that. I will create a VM storage. So I give it a name. I give a storage size and the ASM disk location, so either data or echo, and a redundancy parameter could be high or mirror. If it is high, it is the same thing as triple mirroring that allow for 2 disk failure. I can also select mirrored, which is equivalent of standard, which is going to tolerate 1 disk failure only. I'm going to select high. That will submit a job to create the VM storage. So we can see for the console the execution of the jobs. That should be real quick. You can see the status of the job on the left side of the screen. So the job is completed. You have this VM storage created. You can see the details of this VM storage, so VM demo, and as expected. So it is created on the data disk group with high redundancy on the top of the volume dev ASM VM demo -377, and it is 500 gigabytes, and it is empty. And now, before we can create a VM, it is actually mandatory from the command from the GUI. Need to create a CPU pool. So, for example, I have 4 CPU pools already set up on my ODA. And you have a different type of CPU pool. I have CPU pools for VM, one CPU pools for DB system, another one for bare metal, and another one for DB systems. So the first has been created as a CPU pool it is a kind of logical partition for the CPU cores. So this one is dedicated for VM. So and it is going to be using 4 cores that will be shared across my 3 EBS VMs. Now this one is for the VMs. The second one has been created by default for my DB system, and this CPU pool is dedicated to this DB system, and we're going to use 6 cores. The third is a CPU pool for bare metal databases with 8 cores, but I don't have any database running on this ODA. And the last is the CPU pool created for shared among DB systems, and it is currently shared by 2 DB systems, ODAZ-DBC and ODAZ-DBA. So we're going to create the CPU pool for the VM that I want to create. So I give it a name. I especially select the CPU type. So I select a VM for VM instances. I specify the number of cores for my CPU pool for VMs, and I press create to submit a job to create the CPU pool. So it should run very fast. So now I have my CPU pool created. I can see the details of this CPU pool. So on the 2 nodes of my ODA HA, I have 16 cores allocated for my CPU pools created for my VMs. So now I'm ready to create a VM on my ODA. So I go back to the compute instances menu. I press the create button to create my VM. So it matters to specify a name of the VM. So I've specified VM Demo Linux. I want to create a Linux 709 VM. So I specify the ISO file. So I like to have it available on my some NFS file system on my data center, accessible for all my ODA nodes. So I'm referencing the ISO files for Linux 709. I specify the preferred node. So actually the VM will preferably start, especially for the first boot. I will specify the operating system, not mandatory, but we can specify it. Then we will select a disk group, and then the VM storage that is available in 2 disk groups that I want to use, the CPU pool that I have just created, and I can also specify the number of vCPUs and memory that this VM will use. So I specify two values, the runtime values and the maximum values for the memory and the CPU. Considering that if you want to modify the CPU and memory above the normal value to the maximum, you will not have to bounce the VM for this change to take effect. I can also specify a virtual network. So I'm going to select Clubnet because the IP that I want to use is on the public network. And I will just specify the boot disk size. So I'm going to specify 50 gigabytes for my VM, for my Linux VM. So I press create, and it will submit a quick job to bootstrap the creation of the VM. So job is running for a few seconds. So it is done. So the VM is created basically. I can see the details from the console of the on the Linux VM just created. So it is online, and you can see that it is you can see the VM storage, the VM size, actually the boot size, the boot disk size, the ISO file for the installation, and most importantly, the VNC port that I can connect to finish or to start and finish the configuration of the VM on this operating system. So it is running on the node ODZ01, the first node, consuming 24 gigabyte memory and 4 vCPUs. So now I can connect to the VNC port to configure the VM as usual. So connecting to the VNC port, going on this very quickly. So setting up the time zone, the packages, the disk layouts, the Ethernet settings. So first reboot, connecting to finish the installation. So my VM is started running Linux 7.9. So the desktop is running, and I can connect now with SSH to my VM because I have Ethernet connectivity. I connect to the IP I've just specified to connect and to check the disk. So first, so I have my disk, my boot disk is there. It is the only disk set up on this VM for now, and I can see that it is running on 23 gigabyte free memory. Now what I want to do is to expand this VM to add a virtual disk. So I'm going to go back to the ODA console. And I'm going to, so we can see here that I have, here it is a place to view the virtual disk assigned to the VM. So I don't have any virtual disk assigned to the VM. So going to the virtual disk menu. And create a new virtual disk for my VM. So I press create virtual disk. I specify a disk name, a disk size. If I want it to be sparse or not, the VM storage. I press create. This is going to create a virtual disk on my system. So virtual disk is created. I can now go back to my VM to assign this newly created virtual disk. So I go to my checking the disk first, which is 200 gigabytes. Going back to the instances menu. So on the right side, I have a button to modify some the parameters of my VMs. So I can see here what I can change on my VM. So I can add a virtual disk on my VM. I can attach new virtual networks. I can detach or virtual disk or virtual networks. I can also minify the memory of my VM. if I can change also the maximum memory of my VM, but it may need a reboot of my VM. So for now, I'm going to add the virtual disk and also take the opportunity to modify the memory and the CPU used by my VM that is still running. So I modify the memory and CPU, going to increase it, and I will check the apply to running VM. So the change are going to be effective immediately. So this submit a job to do the change. It runs for a few seconds. So it is done. I can go back to view the details of the VM from the console. And I can see that the VM is running, so now 5 vCPUs, 26 gigabyte memory, and I have the virtual disk assigned to the VM. I can also check this from the VM that is still running. So running VM stat, I can see that it is I have 2 gigabyte free memory in addition to the 23 as previously seen. And if I check the disk, I can see that I have now a 200 gigabyte disk that I can use with my VM. And this didn't I didn't have to bounce my VM for this change to take effect. So this was how to create a Linux VM on my system. I'm going to do the same, but with the Windows VM. So going back to the console to create a Windows VM. So it is going to be the same steps as I've done for the Linux. So going to do the create VM instance menu. So give it a name to the VM demo win. I specify an ISO file for the Windows installation. The preferred node, I will change the operating system type to be Windows 2K. And most importantly, I will specify an extra ISO file that includes the drivers, the IO drivers to perform the installation. I specify the disk group to select the VM storage, the CPU pool, select the same one. And as before, I can select the memory and CPU used by the Windows VM. So I can also select the virtual network and a boot disk size. So I press create. That will also again submit a job to create the Windows VM. So I can see the details of this now running VM. So it is, as expected, running with 25 gigabyte memory on four vCPUs, running on the first node and running on the VNC port 7. And I will then use this VNC port to configure Windows as usual on the next step. So going to accessing the VNC port now to configure Windows. So select the GUI version of Windows 2012. And now what I'm going to do, especially for this Windows VM, is to select the IO drivers to perform to be able to access the disk. So I'm going to access the drivers available on the second ISO file. and I select the AMD64 IO drivers. And now we can start to use the disk to perform the installation. So first reboot of the VM. I connect again to finish the installation. So nothing specific here. Installation as usual. So then the Windows VM is started. It will be just a matter to set up the Ethernet settings to access the VM. So you get now the Linux and Windows VM created. I'm going to show you how to manage the VM to stop and start the VM and other commands from the command line from the console. I'm going to show how to stop and start the VM. So I'm going to come back to the Linux VM that is running on the node 01, and I will stop the VM. So on the right side, but you have a button to modify and to stop the VM. So I'm going to stop the VM. This submit a job. It runs for a few seconds. The VM is stopped now. You can see it is offline. So I'm going to start it and make sure it is running on the first node. It's also submit a job. So it is very quick. So now the VM is running on the first node. I'm going to migrate the VM to the second node. So I'm using the migrate option, and I select the node where I want the VM to be moved. So the second node. This will submit a job that will move the VM from the first to the second node. So it's not going to be a live migration. The VM will be stopped on the first node and restarted on the second. And it should take a few seconds to run. So now coming back, now you can see that the VM is running on the second node, ODSZ02. Now we're going to stop the VM, because what I want to do now is to clone the VM to a new one. So the VM is stopped. I can now use the quit VM command, and now I will use the clone VM instance option to clone my Linux VM to a new one. So I select the source VM. I select a clone name for the new VM, a description. I'm going to press create to launch the clone of the VM. But I get an error because I don't have enough space on my VM storage that is 500 gigabytes, and I want to create a 250 VM on my VM storage. So I'm going to increase the size of my VM storage first. So going back to the VM storage. And I'm going to modify my VM storage to add 100 gigabytes of on my VM storage. It is also the place to modify the redundancy of my VM storage. So I'll leave it to high redundancy. So this submit a job to modify the VM storage size. At the end, I'm going to get a new VM storage with 600 gigabytes. So my VM storage is now 600 gigabytes, so I have enough space to run my clone. So going through the clone VM instance option again. So I select the VM name, a description, and I press create to submit a job to clone the VM. So it runs very quickly. So I get my clone VM created, VM demo Linux clone 1. So now it is running. The source is this one is offline. I can see the details of the newly created VM created as a clone. So I get a new VNC. This one is running on the VNC port 03. And I get the same properties of the cloned VM. So it is also running on the 26 gigabyte memory, five vCPUs, and you can see that the vdisk has also been cloned following the same naming convention, just with a suffix clone. And you have also the virtual networks attached to the cloned VM, so it is an exact copy of the source VM. So now I'm going to do the same. So you have seen how to create a Windows and Linux VM, how to clone one of them. I'm going to do the same thing, but via the command line. So the utility to perform command line operation is ODA CLI command. So I'm going to use it to perform all the steps that you have done via the call interface. So I'm going to first create the VM storage. So I'm running the ODA CLI create VM storage. I give it a name and the size, and the disk. I specify the disk group of the VM storage. I'm going to expand right now the VM storage by 100 gigabytes with the ODA CLI modified VM storage. I'm going to create the CPU pool using the ODA CLI create CPU pools. I give it a name, the number of cores, and the type of the CPU pool that is VM. So I specify a dash VM for this CPU pool. If I want to create a Linux VM, I will be using the ODA CLI create VM. I specify the name of the VM, the CPU pool to be used, the number of the CPU count, normal and maximum, the memory specification, so 24 gigabyte memory and 32 maximum, the VM storage, the size of the boot disk, the ISO file for the installation file, the OS type, and the public and the virtual network that I want attached to the VM. I can also create a virtual disk with ODA CLI create vdisk. I specify your name, the VM storage, the size, and dash SP to say I want the disk to be sparse. On the disk is created, I can assign to the VM with the ODA CLI modify VM command. I specify the name of the VM, the number of new virtual CPU count, the new memory count, and the disk to be added via the dash AVD parameter. I want to be the change to take effect immediately. So I specify the dash live parameter. I'm going to stop the VM, the Linux VM, before I can clone it. the clone command requires the VM to be stopped. So the VM is stopped. I can run the clone command. So I'm running the ODA CLI clone VM command. I specify the source of the VM and the new name of the newly created VM. I can also create, this is an example to how to create a Windows VM from the command line. So I'm running the ODA CLI create VM. So, but unlike with Linux, I'm specify an extra ISO file with the ESRC parameter to specify the Windows, where to find the IO drivers for Windows. So this is going to create the VM. At the end, you have should have 3 VMs running. So you have this clone, this clear VMDemo Linux CLI, the Windows VMDemo Linux CLI clone, and the VMDemo WinCLI VMs. I prefer to have all my VM sorted by my name. So you can, for example, you can modify, you can run the command with a dash JSON parameter to get the display in JSON format, so they can format it better, like I do here, so that I can display this VM in a sorted way, which I like better. So this complete how to create this object from the command line. I can now show you how to destroy this object that I've just created. So I'm stopping the VMs before I can delete them. So I'm stopping the clone. I'm stopping the Windows VM. I can now delete the clone via the ODA CLI delete VM command. So deleting the source VM, deleting the Windows VM. I can now delete the virtual disk. I can also delete the CPU pool, and I can then delete the VM storage. So checking the VM storage, I can see that my VM storage is gone, and so I have just show you how to create and delete VMs from the command line. Now I will show you how to use a KVMBR utility for backup and restore of your VMs. So it is very easy to use. And I will going to first to create a directory that will going to where the backup files are going to be redirected. So I'm creating a directory on my preferred NFS location. I'm starting the VM because to show you that this utility works also with a VM running. So I'm starting by demo Linux VM. And now it's a matter to run the KVMBR backup utility. Summoning the KVMBR with a backup parameter. I specify the VM to be backuped, and this backup directory that I have just created on my ZFS. And the beauty of this utility that is going to create a snapshot of the boot disk and virtual disk assigned to the VM, so that it is going to preserve the integrity of the disk and allow the VM to continue running while the backup is running. So the backup time depends the disk size. So this one runs for a few minutes, 3 minutes. I can see the backup location. So I have backup my boot disk and my virtual disk. I can use the same utility to restore the VM. So if I run the same utilities as I do now on the same ODA, I can restore my VM, or I can also create a new VM as using the backup that I've just created. So here I'm running the KVR utility with the restore command, and I specify a new name for the VM for the restore of the backup. I also specify a new VM storage. So it is going to restore and create a new VM on my ODA. I'm going to go now to another ODA, an X8.2, where I'm going to restore this backup to create this another VM on this other ODA. So I'm connected to the ODAT01 bare metal nodes. I can list the VM storage available on this ODA that is running X8. And we're going to pick the VM storage to perform this restore. So I'm running the same command, KVR bin restore, restoring the VM demo backup available on this location, and creating on this ODA the VM called OVM demo VM demo Linux underscore ODAT using this VM storage. So using this utility, you can easily move your VM from one ODA to another. So the VM is created, and it's just a matter now to modify the VM to set up the memory and CPU counts, assign the virtual network, optionally to connect to set up the network via the VNC port. And you can get this VNC port via the describe VM command. So again, it's a matter to connect to the VNC to access this VNC port and configure this VM on this other ODA. So my VM is now running. Now I'm going most importantly to show you the IMX for VM utility to export and import VM from a third-party provider, for example. This give you just an overview because this tool is very powerful with many parameters, many options from and to the ODA. As an example, I'm going to use an image, a virtual appliance image of EBS. So I pull from eDelivery the patch size, the diff files for the EBS Vision environment 12.2.12. So it is 72 gigabytes that I want to import into my X10 ODA. So I'm going first to create a temporary directory. By default, the tool uses the temp as a temp directory, but it is too large, so I'm going to create a new temp directory on a user directory. And we now run the IMX for VM command with the import keyword. I specify this OVA file that going to hold the EBS demo environment. I specify the provider is ODA, that the tools know that it is going to import into one ODA. I specify a name for the VM to be created. I specify the virtual network, the net again, the VM storage. In this case, I select VM EBS, the stamp directory, the CPU count, and the memory for this VM. So the utility will run for this is a large VM, so 72. So it takes some time to enter the content of the OVA. In total, it took 20 minutes to create a 400 gigabyte VM. So first, it extracts the VM disk, the VMDK disk to Q2 in the Q2 format. So extract the VMDK file, then convert it to the Q2 format, then create the VM using this Q2 disk. So at the end of these 20 minutes, I have my VM, my EBS VM running on IGDA. I can just, if I want, modify the VM life to assign a CPU pool. I can describe the VM to know that it is running on the VNC port 0. My VM is running. So it is a 400 gigabyte, so very large. Now it is a matter to connect to this EBS VM to finish the installation. So I'm connecting to the VM via the VNC ports, changing the password, setting up the host name, the IP settings. And some automation will take place for EBS, so starting the database, running autoconfig. This is done automatically. This is I can now access, because you have the network attached to the VM, I can now connect to the VM via SSH. It is more handy. So I can connect to the VM to finish the EBS setup. So it is a mix of manual steps and automation, semi-automation. Database is started. I take the opportunity to change the login password for EBS, changing the password schemas, and also running the YUM update on this VM. I'm going also to install the server with GUI package, because I want to install a VNC server. So it is done. I can now start the EBS middle tier on this VM. So it is done. Middle tier started. I'm going to do a quick check. I'm checking the Apache server. I'm checking the concurrent managers that are running. Checking the database connectivity, database process are running. I can I can start the VNC server so that I can access the desktop via VNC. So accessing the desktop, I'm about to launch Firefox to access my EBS environment. I can connect. So we have seen now to import an EBS demo VM to ODA. In a few, if not in a few seconds, but in a few hours. So these are the link for the documentation. So I put it there, the reference for the KVM-BR utility, as we have seen before in the documentation by Jose and Bogdan. Also the link for the IMX for VM utility and the ODA-BR une reference for the ODA-BR utility. That complete my demo.